Okay, good morning and welcome everyone to a regular meeting of a panel of utility commissioners and staff of the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority held today, Wednesday, December 7th at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference. My name is Chairman Marissa Gillette and I'm joined virtually today by my colleagues, the Vice Chairman Jack Bukowski and Commissioner Michael Karen. We have a regular calendar and a consent calendar in front of us today. We'll turn first to our regular calendar. The first item on today's regular calendar is docket number 2203. 16, the petition of the Office of Consumer Counsel for an investigation into the United Illuminating Company and Eversource Energy regarding collections practices during the COVID-19 moratorium. We will turn to Attorney Solares on behalf of authority staff to make a presentation of the decision for the panel's consideration, please.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chairman Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. In March 2022, the authority initiated an investigation at the request of a petition filed by the Office of Consumer Counsel into the collection practices of Connecticut's regulated electric, gas, and water public service companies during the temporary shutoff moratorium established by the authority in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Specifically, the authority assessed whether the public service utilities violated any applicable statutes, regulations, or authority orders, particularly those established in docket number 2003-15, emergency petition of William Tong, Attorney General for the state of Connecticut, for a proceeding to establish a state of emergency utility shutoff moratorium. The authority also reviewed the general collections practices of certain public service companies. Through the course of its investigation, the authority determined that some of the public service utilities engaged in collections practices other than terminations during the public health and economic crisis that were concerning to the authority. As an initial matter, the authority concluded that the COVID-19 shutoff moratorium established in docket number 2003-15 suspended all service terminations for the duration of the public health emergency, except for reasons of public safety. As such, the authority determined that the public service utilities complied with the express language of the shutoff moratorium insofar as service terminations for residential and non-residential customers did not occur from mid-March 2020 until the authority granted approval for such activities to resume. During the pandemic, each public service utility altered their collections practices in an attempt to strike a balance between lessening the burden on customers during a global health and economic crisis and continuing to collect delinquent debt before the costs would be passed on to customers. As discussed in the decision, Eversource and Aquarion Water Company of Connecticut ceased all collections practices for both active and inactive customers. Avangrid suspended filing new lawsuits against active customers, but continued referring accounts to its legal collections firm and collection agencies. Avangrid also continued to contact customers about their outstanding balances and continued to pursue judgments and wage garnishments for lawsuits filed prior to the start of the pandemic. And finally, Connecticut Water did not suspend any collections practices. Additionally, appended to the decision is a summary of each public utility company's collections practices for both active and inactive customers. I recommend adoption of this decision to the panel. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Attorney Solares. Is there a motion?
I move adoption, Madam Chairman. Second, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All right. Thank you, Attorney Solares. We will move to a vote in just one moment. I want to thank you and OCC and all the stakeholders who were involved in this investigation. It's of course separate from our docket, the reopener, which is focused on a notice of violation issued to the Avangrid companies, for which we have a pending settlement motion in front of us. Since that motion for settlement was filed on December 2nd, and we have a 7-day period in which we allow stakeholders to comment on that settlement, we are not reaching resolution on that separate docket this morning, but rather focusing on the adoption of our final decision in the investigation matter. So I thank everyone again for their diligence and work on this important docket, and we can move to a vote, please.
Chairman Gillette?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Karen?
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. We'll turn to docket number 220804, the annual shared clean energy facility program review, year 4 review. We'll turn to Mr. Anastasio with authority staff for the presentation of the decision for the panel's consideration, please.
Yes, good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. In the decision for docket number 220804, the authority revises and approves the Shared Clean Energy Facility, or SCEF, program manual and Appendix B, while also approving bid preferences and a procurement price cap. In 2019, the authority established and approved the SCEF program requirements, initially proposed by DEEP, in docket number 190701, review of statewide Shared Clean Energy Facility program requirements. Accordingly, the authority initiated this proceeding on June 20th, 2022 to review the SCEF program rules and program documents for year 4 of the program. Pursuant to Public Act number 22-14, this decision includes changes to the definitions of low and moderate income customers, where the maximum income threshold for low income customer changed from 80% of the area median income, or AMI, to 60% of the state median income, or SMI, and changes the relevant median income from AMI to SMI. Public Act 22-14 also amended other SCEF program components. This decision, along with the approval of DEEP's proposed bid preferences and price caps, describes the inclusion of a new solar canopy definition and a modified brownfields definition to increase program transparency and clarity. Moreover, the authority provided direction in managing and updating practices for the hosting capacity maps to ensure that the hosting capacity maps maintained by the EDCs show accurate and valuable information to project developers and to ensure program accessibility through a clear and simplified process. As such, the authority finds that the proposed modifications to the year 4 are appropriate and further support the SCEF objectives while ensuring a more equitable program and alignment with other clean energy programs. Staff recommends adoption of the final decision, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion?
I move adoption, Madam Chairman. And second.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. If there are no questions or comments, we can take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. We'll turn next to docket number 220814, the petition of New Power Cherry Street FC LLC for a declaratory ruling concerning the installation of master metering at the Cherry Street Lofts property. I believe we have Attorney Tisler with us this morning to present the decision for the panel's consideration.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Gillette, Vice Chairman Bukowski, and Commissioner Karen. In this proceeding, New Power Cherry Street FC LLC requests that the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority determine that the Cherry Street Lost property is eligible for an exemption to the general prohibition on master metering, and thus that the company is permitted to cease sub-metering at the facility and install master metering. The authority issued a notice of proceeding on September 7th, 2022, and conducted the proceeding pursuant to Connecticut General Statute sections 16-11 and 16-19 FF, as well as section 16-11-116 of the regulations of Connecticut state agencies, and 2 prior authority decisions establishing exemptions to the prohibition on master metering. A public hearing was not held as there is no statutory requirement for a hearing and no participant requested a hearing. Previously, in 2019, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute section 16-19 FF, subsection A3, the authority granted the company approval to install and operate electric submetering at the facility. The company subsequently completed the installation of a fuel cell and submetering system and has since been billing under its submetering system. The company now states that the facility's use of a renewable energy source in conjunction with the residential leased units' other energy saving features has significantly reduced residential energy consumption. Despite lower energy bills for the tenants, The company reports that the number of delinquent accounts has steadily risen. To address the delinquencies, the company seeks to use master metering so that the landlord can include energy payments within each residential tenant's rent and then transfer funds to New Power to cover the energy costs. The authority evaluated the company's petition in light of Connecticut's prohibition on master metering at multifamily dwellings and the 2 exemptions to that prohibition established through prior authority decisions. The authority finds that the facility does not satisfy either of the 2 existing exemptions for subsidized housing and assisted living units. The authority further evaluated whether it was reasonable to waive any of the requirements to meet the exemption for subsidized housing units. The authority found that a majority of the households at the facility are not occupied by elderly or disabled residents, and therefore the authority declines to waive this requirement of the subsidized housing exemption. The authority further finds that the company has not provided sufficient justification to waive any other exemption criteria. Accordingly, in this decision, the Public Utilities Regulatory Authority denies an exemption to the prohibition on master metering for New Power Cherry Street FT LLC to consolidate all existing individual meters at the Cherry Street Lost property under a master meter. Therefore, the authority also denies permission to cease some metering at the residential units. The authority staff recommend this decision for adoption by the panel.
Is there a motion?
Move adoption. Second.
Thank you. The decision has been regularly moved and seconded. There are no questions or comments. I'd ask Mr. Bentham to please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The decision has been adopted. That concludes our regular calendar. We will turn to our consent calendar, in which there are 4 items. Is there a motion, please?
Madam Chairman, I'd move today's consent calendar items 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I second it.
Yeah, the consent calendar has been regularly moved and seconded. Mr. Bentham, please take the roll.
Chairman Gillette,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bukowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen,
Yes.
Thank you. The consent calendar has been adopted in full. That brings us to the end of our agenda for today's regular meeting. We will adjourn and we will reconvene next Wednesday, December 14th at 10 a.m. by remote teleconference for our next regular meeting. Thank you. Have a great day.